The king rejoices in your strength. O Lord, how greatly he exults in your salvation. Psalm 21. There are mornings when your heart wakes up before your body does, stirred by anxiety, by the weight of responsibility, by the relentless pressure to keep performing, keep providing, keep proving. The alarm has even gone off. And yet your mind is already in motion, calculating what needs to be fixed, what needs to be faced. But before you step into the noise of another day, I want to remind you of something. Powerful victory is not earned by exhaustion. It is secured by alignment. Psalm 21 begins not with striving, but rejoicing. The king rejoices in your strength. In other words, success in the kingdom is not measured by what you accomplish in your own might, but by how deeply you draw from his strength. David wrote this psalm after the battle was won. It is a song of gratitude, but also a map for those still in the fight. He looks back at victory, not as his own achievement, but as God's intervention. You have given him his heart's desire and have not withheld the request of his lips. That's not luck, that's divine partnership. That's what happens when human effort meets heavenly favor. And that's where we begin today, not by begging for strength, but by remembering the source of it. Because when you recognize that God himself is your strength, you start fighting from fear. You start ruling from faith. This morning, I want you to picture yourself as David, battle-worn but victorious, standing in the quiet after chaos. The dust is settling. The noise has faded. And you're realizing it wasn't your sword that saved you. It was his hand. You remember every moment you wanted to quit. Every night you almost gave up. Every tear you prayed through. And you see now you were carried. You were covered. You were chosen for this. That's what divine strength looks like. It's not always loud, but it is lasting. It's the quiet endurance that keeps you moving when motivation is gone. It's the unseen courage that steadies you when others break. Psalm 21 continues. You meet him with rich blessings. You set a crown of fine gold upon his head. God not only delivers, you see, it dignifies. His strength doesn't just protect you, it elevates you. The crown represents authority, purpose, restoration. It's not just about victory over enemies, it's about dominion over fear, over insecurity, over limitation. Every battle you survive has prepared you to wear something greater. Some of you are walking into seasons where God will place crowns on your head that pain forged. What you thought was punishment was actually preparation. The very thing that tried to destroy you was shaping you for influence. That's why you must never despise your battles. They're classrooms for divine strength. The moments you cried out, Lord, I can't do this, were moments when he whispered, that's why I'm here. Human exhaustion is heaven's invitation. When you reach the limit of your own ability, God steps in with the Lord's strength isn't just the energy to push forward, it's the power to stay aligned when you're tired of waiting. It's the discipline to trust when you can't trace his plan. It's the grace to forgive when you'd rather fight. That strength that wins wars without losing your soul. And this victory, this joy that Psalm 21 celebrates isn't just about outcomes, it's about identity. David rejoiced not because everything was easy, but because he understood who he was and who God is. For you make him most blessed forever. You make him glad with the joy of your presence. That's the secret of sustained strength. The joy of his presence. The world says strength is about dominance, push harder, climb higher. show no weakness. But kingdom strength is about dependence. It's about living in the constant awareness that God is near, that you are never fighting alone, that your peace is protected by His presence. Let's pray. Father, today I thank you for your strength. I thank you that my battles are not mine alone. I thank you that I don't have to manufacture peace or pretend to be fearless. I lean on you, the source, the sustainer, the shield. Strengthen me for what's ahead. Crown me with clarity. Arm me with wisdom. Fill me with quiet courage. Let your strength flow through my weakness and turn my fatigue into faith. Psalm 21 declares something profound. His glory is great in your salvation. Honor and majesty you have placed upon him. Notice the exchange. God's salvation brings glory to the one who trusts. In other words, divine strength doesn't just rescue, it redefines. When God fights for you, He not only changes your situation, it changes your stature. People who once doubted you will see the evidence of His hand on your life. But that recognition isn't for ego, it's for influence. Every victory you receive carries a responsibility to lead others back to the source. And this is where modern life often disconnects from kingdom truth. We chase personal success and call it victory. But real victory is shared. It's not about outshining others, it's about uplifting them. When God strengthens you, it's so you can strengthen others. When He gives you peace, it's so you can be a peacemaker. When He prospers you, it's so you can be a vessel of provision. David wasn't just a fighter, he was a leader. And leaders are channels of God's strength for those around them. So let me speak to the modern warrior in you, the parent trying to stay steady for their children, the entrepreneur holding vision against odds, the believer trying to keep faith alive in a cynical world. You may not feel strong, but strength is not a feeling, it's a foundation. You don't have to roar to be powerful. Sometimes strength looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like peace and provocation. Sometimes it's refusing to respond to critics because your energy is too valuable for arguments. That's divine maturity. That's what separates the wise from the weary. David wrote, "For the king trusts in the Lord, and through the steadfast love of the Most High, he shall not be moved." That phrase, "shall not be moved," is the posture of a soul anchored in purpose. The world will shake, markets will crash, people will fail you, but you rooted in His love remain steady. That's what victory looks like, not the absence of storms, but the ability to stand through them. And let me tell you, that kind of strength doesn't come from caffeine, motivation, or strategy. It comes from consecration. It comes from communion with God in the stillness of morning, when you surrender before you strive, when you seek before you speak, when you listen before you lead. You might be saying, "But I've been fighting for so long and I'm tired." I understand. But remember, David was tired too. The anointing didn't cancel exhaustion, it transformed it. Fatigue is not failure, it's feedback. It's your body saying, "I need to recharge." It's your spirit saying, "I need to realign." Divine strength is not constant motion, it's sustained momentum. It's knowing when to move and when to rest. Even soldiers retreat to refuel. Even kings bow before they reign. If you learn to pause in God's presence, you'll find that what you thought was the end of your strength is just the beginning of His. Psalm 21 ends with a victorious declaration, "Be exalted." O Lord, in your strength. We will sing and praise your power. That's the crescendo of faith, when you realize the battle wasn't meant to glorify you, but to magnify him. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me, and start declaring, God be exalted through this. Because every challenge that brought you to your knees has brought you closer to his heart. Every battle that stripped your pride has strengthened your purpose. Every delay has refined your desire. So, as you rise today, understand this. Divine strength is not just endurance, it's elevation. It doesn't just keep you standing, it lifts your perspective. You stop seeing life as random and start seeing it as orchestrated. You stop panicking at problems and start perceiving patterns. You begin to recognize that every valley is training for the next victory. Maybe you've been praying for God to remove your enemies, but sometimes his strategy is to outlast them. He strengthens you to stay standing long enough to watch his justice unfold. David didn't need to fight every enemy. He just needed to remain faithful until God dealt with them. That's divine strategy. You don't waste energy fighting battles that are already decided. You invest your energy in preparation for what's next. Let that be your mindset today. You are not chasing victory. You are walking in it. The fact that you're still breathing, is still believing, is still building. That's victory. The enemy tried to silence you, but you're still speaking, tried to break you, but you're still standing, tried to confuse you, but you're still clear. That's divine strength at work. Say this with me. The Lord is my strength and my victory. I will not be moved. I will not fear. I will not quit. I will rejoice in his power and walk in his purpose. Speak that over your life until your atmosphere changes. Because victory isn't just a destination, it's a declaration. You speak it before you see it. You thank him before it manifests. That's how faith functions. And when people ask, how are you still standing after all that, you smile and say, because I don't stand in my strength. I stand in his. That's the secret. The world can't comprehend. That divine strength doesn't just protect you. It transforms you. It makes you wiser, calmer, more resilient. It teaches you to fight without losing peace, to win without losing humility. So today, walk like a king, crowned, not by ego, but by endurance. Speak with authority, but live with gratitude. And when life presses you, remember Psalm 21, the king rejoices in your strength. Rejoice even before the outcome. Praise even before the proof, because joy is not your reward, it's your weapon. When you worship in the middle of warfare, heaven moves on your behalf. You were not created to live defeated. You were born to manifest dominion. You were designed to carry victory as your normal, not your exception. The same God who strengthened David strengthens you now. The same Spirit that lifted Jesus from the grave empowers you today. So don't shrink back. Don't apologize for the favor on your life. Don't question your worth because of temporary struggle. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are unstoppable, not because of who you are, but because of who fights for you. So let this be your declaration for this morning, Lord. I will rejoice in your strength. I will celebrate your salvation. I will wear my crown with humility, wield my authority with wisdom, and walk in your power with peace. My victory is certain because my confidence is in you. Take a breath. Feel that quiet assurance settling into your spirit. That's divine strength. Steady, calm, unshakable. That's victory. Not loud, but lasting. As you go into this day, carry this truth. You don't fight for victory, you fight from it. You don't beg for strength, you live from it. You don't chase blessing, you embody it. The Lord is your strength, your shield, your song, and your success, and in his power you will not be moved.